You hear that beat? That is my heart beating. It is the heart of the earth, the heart of time, the heart of our ancestors. It is the ancient heart of eternity. I, a shaman, stand before you as I always have, a wounded healer with easy access to the spirit world, to bring back healing powers of wholeness when the time is out of joint, our people are dispirited, are broken in this world. Time is precious. Voices of the valley have come to speak their hearts and tell their stories of pain and joy and wonderment. Listen up, grandfathers of grandfathers and grandmothers of grandmothers, speak. Listen. Listen, children, listen up. I'm just going to tell you one time. Who are you? Ever hear that? Voices asking questions. Voices giving commands. Voices giving direction. Voices giving warnings. Little children having to listen, listen, listen. And all the grown-ups talking, spelling out words, hiding secrets, making the child a world of befuddle, intriguing mystery. You go to church and voices be given praise. When a daddy's come home from the plant, the voices be given grunts. Beat us with a stick or a whip, and the voices be a groaning. Scare us, and our voices be silent. What do we have our voices for? Crying is the only way that little children have a voice. And sometimes, truth be told, grown-ups too. Some voices say, hush, be quiet. God gave us one mouth and two ears. That's the truth now, isn't it? Must be a purpose for that. The child listens all his life. Now it is time for the grown-up children inside these adults to speak. You do have a child in you, don't you? If your child is dead, then that voice is quiet. It's silent. A telling tale in itself. But if your child be alive and well in your own body, then you have kept the miracle of living alive. Praise be for the miracles. Come with me, little children of all ages, and we will go on a journey. It is a shaman's journey. Not to the city, not to the country, not to the mall, nor down the road to do the garden hoeing, but to the place of being a human in an inhumane world. It is a shaman's journey. I am with you always. I am in your midst always. Come with me. Yes, oh yes, these voices are real. Their lives are real. Their blood, their sweat, their tears are real. You see, they all found themselves one way or another in a company town named after the aluminum company of America, Alcoa for short. A town planned for African American workers from the deep South to live and work in the Tennessee Valley in the hottest room of all, the pot boiler room, where bauxite got its final smelting to give us rolls of aluminum for everything from soda cans to space shuttles, searching the mysterious realms of the beyond into the world of the shaman.
Most people call me Big Mama, but my name is Millie Clay. I was born in Mississippi on the river in 1920. Yeah. Don't quite recollect why they call me Big Mama. I suppose because I love everybody. Now that day, them Alcoa men came to our little shack in Mississippi. My mama, bless her heart, was crying in the kitchen because she couldn't stretch the pig knuckles and the chicken gizzards in the water of a soup. Oh, yes, Lord. And Daddy, my little daddy was sighing and hanging his head, his big black shiny knees poking through his pants. And all those kids just standing around holding their bellies, looking up at Mom and Daddy. You know, most times we went to bed hungry, sucking on our own knuckles. Well, when them Alcoa men found us, they said we could have a new life if we just pack up and move to this new place called Alcoa in Tennessee. They promised my daddy a job with food and even a new house with water and lights and a toilet. So off we went, and Daddy started working with nothing to lose. And that's how we came to Alcoa, a promised new life. And you know, sure enough, that's what we got. We got to start our own community. Everybody was new and scared to death, but we got to have a new house at first. Daddy started working in the pot boiler rooms, and Mama was blessed with her own chicken yard. We were just one big happy family. Everybody knew everybody. Now, some of the local white people weren't too taken with the whole mess of colored folk moving in most overnight. They just shunned us like we wasn't even there. And do you know them Maryville colored folk, because they were here first, they thought they were better than us. I mean, we couldn't scrub off our color or our newness. So we just stayed together as a tight-knit community. You know, folk, family is everything. If you don't have family, you don't make it. You got to have somebody to stick up for yourself, no matter what. The family, the community, the town, and praise the Lord, the church. Now, them you can depend on. And now they're talking about gangs and with guns and drugs, all kind of crazy stuff. What in the world happened? In the early days, we knew God loved us and we loved each other. And we worked. We worked hard. All this other stuff, we didn't worry about it. We figured God would take care of it. And we were so mighty excited about our blessings as long as we had them. Now, we got to keep them blessings coming. It ain't easy, but it's possible. Now, we did it. We had them, and this generation can have them too. Just got to create them and just remember where they came from, God. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long way from home, a long way from home.
Yes, sir. Here I am, the pot boiler room worker. My name is Jake Parson. We worked that hot molten liquid into solid ingots, and then all sorts of things made from the miraculous metal called aluminum. The company man from Alcoa came to the fields of Georgia. He was looking for workers for a new plant in Tennessee. He had promised. I couldn't refuse.
a good paying job, a home, running water, electricity, and an indoor toilet. And the whole family included. All, if I just sign on and move to Tennessee. I signed on, and what did I get? Just what they said I would get. The job was steady, and it paid for the house little by little. While I worked, the family had a home, and everybody got busy building a community. I worked and worked. Hard work that failed or killed white workers or Mexican. That's why they came to us, field workers from the hot fields of the Deep South. In that potboiler room, it was just like walking into a hot oven all day. Some days, I would lose 3, 4, 5 pounds of sweat. But we thought about our kids, our families, and our community. So we kept stirring to break the crust on that hot molten slush. We were deep south. But coming home, I was dead tired. I was beat. But we had a warm house in the winter, and in the summer, we could catch the breeze on the porch. Our people looked up to us. We were providers and protectors of our families. We had respect in the community, but in the white man's world, we were mostly invisible. We were expected to drink at colored fountains, walk to the rear of the bus, even on the company bus. Lots of times out in the public, we couldn't even find a water fountain. But that all changed. We watched as our kids went off to white schools. They lost their self-respect, their golden quality. They saw that white schools were better, had better books, better clothing, better jobs, better opportunity, and better living. That's okay, but they looked down on us, whereas we looked up to one another. And then the Ku Klux Klan started to cruise our streets. That hurt deep down. And what did our kids do? They got mad. They got angry. They brought in drugs. They got guns. And they went to prison twice as fast as the white kids. We lost part of our community and part of our souls. I guess we have to try other things. I worked too hard for this to happen. Everybody has to carry his own cross. I carried mine, and I was proud of it. I guess we have to keep on stirring that pot, keep on walking down that road, and maybe someday we'll all come together and we'll all be happy.
So, you want to know what it was like to come home from that hellish war. Well, it was a beautiful day that day in May 1945. Well, here I am in one piece, back home. Private Floyd Ross, Purple Heart Medal, World War II vet. God, I never thought I'd see home again. A year ago, I was shot down from the sky. Then they furloughed me home. But you know, they sent me back for more. Thank God, I'm home at last. You know, when I got off of that plane, I was floating with joy. I knelt down and kissed that tarmac to make sure it was real. Now, I'm grateful to be here. Don't get me wrong. I've got food, I've got shoes, I've got my wife, and now a new baby. Yeah, and I'm grateful for that. Yes, I am. Amen. But what I don't have is respect. Now, in the Army, sleeping quarters were separated. But when you got in the trenches, it was everybody that can get in, get there, and get there quickly. Don't matter who got there first, just get there. Don't be the last one. Here, it's get on the back of the bus. Get on the back of the bus. I'll tell you this. You get wounded in that war, the white boys will come out, they'll fetch you, pat you up, give you a medal, and send you home. But when I get back home, all over town, all you hear are the bosses saying, "We're not hiring today." So, well, what about tomorrow? What about the next day? The next month? How about a job? I got to eat too, you know. My baby needs things that babies need. What I don't have right now is a new job. But there's always that Alcoa and that pot barter job. You know, seems the bosses don't think anyone else can do this stinking work but us. Everybody else seems to die in the heat. I tell you this. Those recruiters came down to the deep south and enticed my cotton-picking grandfather to come and work in this hot molten pot room. You know, they targeted the poor black folk. The Mexicans, they just killed over. The whites, forget it. Few of them were tough enough to stand it. They got the better jobs. Yeah, that's what I did before I went to the Army. I worked in that stinking hot boiler room, and it almost killed me. Now, I'm looking for something else. Is that all there is for us? That sweat room, 1,800 to 1,900 degrees? Yeah, there's some blood, sweat, and tears right here in our own country right now, right here in our own little town. Now listen. I'm a decorated veteran. Now, didn't I prove to you that I was trustworthy? Didn't I show you that I'm reliable? I was willing to fight for my own country. I put my life on the line too. And then, what do I get? Some gruffy old bus driver telling me to get back to the back of the bus, boy. Then there's the water fountains over here saying, whites only. Doors that have been shut in my face. Bosses saying to me, not hiring today. They don't appreciate anything. And I tell you the truth, it hurts. That's the worst part of it, damn it. The white boys, they get to go to college. Yeah, I could too. I'm smart enough, but I got to find that job or go back to Alcoa in that pot boiler room. You know, you could die for these people, and they won't let you in the door, damn it. What does it take? I got more than I had when I left. Yeah. And I'm grateful, don't get me wrong. But I don't want my kids to have to go back to the back of the darn bus. That hurts. Today, God, I've got to go back to that pot boiler room. Oh. And I guess I got to get my old job back. But, you know, I can stand it. I know I can. I have to. Being a man is just like being a soldier. You do what you got to do. Oh, how many doors, Lord? How many more doors do I have to enter before I can get into that room of humanity? Or do I have to go and kick the damn door down? Lord, surely you're going to open a door. I was born by the river in this little tent. And just like that river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. It's been too hard living, and I'm scared to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the clouds. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Oh, yes it will.
Was teaching young black girls to respect people for who they were and not what they looked like. I taught home economics from the curriculum, but what I really taught was love. Without love, kids don't learn much of anything good. And some of these children are all grown up to their own lives, and still they keep up with me. When I taught their children, and sometimes even their grandchildren, and they write me, so I'm happy. I grew up here in Alcoa. You know the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, Alcoa was like a village, raising all of the children together, long before that became a social slogan. We were our brothers and sisters' keeper, you might say. and it would be true. Father was a deacon in the church, always doing things for others, taking them food or coal or whatever they needed. My mother, she took in ironing and cleaned, but she always made time to be home when we went off to school and when we came back. She made me clothes from flour sacks. She said, you can always be clean and dressed in our Sunday best for church. We could always be clean, she said, no matter what. Now, Father worked in the pot room at Alcoa South plant. It offered a better way of life, and this area was a pretty good area to live in. He was recruited in 1913 to help build the plant at Alcoa. We had a mixed community of whites on one side of Hall Road and blacks on the other side of Hall Road. But we had no problems, really. Only once, when I was a student at Maryville College, did I have a bad experience because I'm black. I went with a group of other students and one of my black neighbors to a nearby restaurant for lunch. But my neighbor and I were told we blacks couldn't be served. That was in 1954 when we weren't in the civil rights movement yet. So my neighbor and I, we just walked away, and the others stayed. They ate what we all were going to eat: a plate of chicken, rice, and peas, and all of the biscuits you could eat for $1. Now, we had the dollar, and we had the dignity, but we didn't have a white ticket. Now, these white students, they were willing to eat with us, but nobody, not even us, had the nerve to stand up for our right to be served with them. That was a difficult time when we didn't dare even stand up for ourselves. We had been denied our rights for so long, it was just a shame. I was pleased to finally see a movement to afford us the rights we felt were ours by virtue of being human beings. Of course, white people in Blount County were more accepting, more compassionate than in most other places I've been. I've tried to get along with some white people wherever I live because I can see through color and see the person. But some of them acted like, oh, we were invisible or something. I always taught my students that they were good in something. Find it, I'd tell them, and excel in it. They may not be good in this or that, but they had something to contribute. Find it, find it. I tell all my students they were expected to excel in effort and conduct. You can always try, and you can always behave. We knew that, and the families knew that. We had a special village where every family had a part in growing up and developing the community in a civic-minded way of life. We did the best that we could with what we had, but we sure didn't have much. We tried our best, and we had joy no matter what was going on outside of us. You know, there was a J&K store over in Maryville where we had to stand in line just to buy used school books discarded from the white schools. I had to do that way back in my day as a student, and my students had to do that too. But at least the black teachers were interested in the progress of their students, and they supported them. We never lost sight of our children. Now, when we were finally integrated, some of that close community feeling was lost. Some of the white teachers didn't take as much interest in our black children as much as we did. But Alcoa did give us a better life and a good community. And we are still a part of that special community. We were here, and we did count for something. We're not invisible. That's what I wanted my students to take to heart. You be somebody. Be yourself. You are somebody.
As soon as I could walk and talk, I could tell something was wrong. Folks used to say to me, that thing there flapping between your teeth and your gums, that's going to get you in a whole mess of trouble one day, little girl. So, yeah, I was warned. But do you think I listened? I felt like I had a good life. With both my parents, my brothers and sisters, we were all happy. We felt fine. It was whenever we went out, beyond our borders. Something always caught in my throat. Separate water fountains, separate schools, separate everything. We were trained to be second class. Definitely. Second class and separated, as if somehow we were contaminated. They looked upon us as a strange species with no stomach, no heart, no lungs, no bladder, no voice, no vote, no place, no mind, honey, no matter. But they did know we had a couple of things. They knew we had legs and arms. Legs to walk on everywhere we had to go, and everybody had to walk to the post office to get their mail. And most of us walked to school and to the plant. And they knew we had arms, great big, strong arms, to do the work that they couldn't do or wouldn't do. And it's that view of us that always did something to me in here. How disheartening. It's amazing, really. Oh, yes. Racism existed. But what was you going to do about it? We didn't know any better. We just took it as a part of everyday living. We had other things to worry about. One day, we just got tired of separate, second-class living. Now, Miss Rosa Parks, that there, that's my shero. Her self-assertion became our self-creation. And the whole nation was in upheaval. And the Alcoa Aluminum Company was going full blast at right about the time the Vietnam War reared its ugly head. Now, folks, war is a waste. You hear me? It's like swapping Satan for the devil. And the sons of poor folk get thrown in with the deal. Muhammad Ali was stripped of his world title for braving the truth. Do y'all remember that? And that is when we finally decided to kick it into high gear and start fighting for our rights. We were created by God. And how dare any man try and enslave us and pretend that we are less than human? Here, the civil rights transition, fairly easy. There was no big riots, no sit-ins, no militant leaders. Well, only a few KKK folks rode around on their horses trying to be menacing, you know. To let us know that they was there and that we needed to stay in our place, you know. They burned a few crosses here and there. And the police never did come to our aid. But mostly, we had a quiet, sullen acceptance as we integrated into the schools. Now, most of the white folk around here would say, well, I don't have nothing against them. I just don't know them. But how could they know us? We were so separated. And then integration proved to have both blessings and curses because somewhere along the line, we got lost. We lost who we were. Before integration, we had village watchers, village enforcers. We had big mamas and aunties on every corner in a vibrant, caring community where everybody knew everybody else. And our schools encouraged and groomed each student individually, even if we did have inferior textbooks. And then after integration, we suddenly became one or two or three in a classroom with a teacher that no longer took that special care, time, or interest in us. And some of us were alone and overwhelmed. Some of us fell behind. And some of us dropped out. So what we're trying to do today is rebuild that sense of community that we had in the first place. Because integration took us one step forward and 2 steps back. Just now trying to get back what we had in the first place. And that's parents involved in their children's education. And we struggling. We struggling to cut that pipeline from school to prison that's taken so many of our children on a dead-end journey. Did you know that in Alcoa, it's twice as likely as a black child to be sent to juvenile court? And of the youth transferred over to adult court, the majority are ours. That's unacceptable. We have got to work harder for a just society for our kids. It's life and death out here on these streets today. And the stakes are too high. Somehow, we lost the center to our small world. So therefore, we must find a new common center in this new, larger, more global world of black, brown, red, yellow, and white faces. My mama always said to me, when we leave this world, we take only spirit. And that's exactly what we have to keep us going strong, no matter what. The spirit. And there ain't no color to that. Folks, we finally in the same pot with the whites and everybody else. And that single pot, my friends, is boiling. I mean, it's boiling over and it's hot. This is hot as the pots at the plant that our daddies worked at. And they sure knew the hell of that. I go to the movie and I go downtown. And somebody keeps telling me, don't you hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. I go to my brother and say, brother, can you help me, please? But somehow he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there were times that I thought I couldn't last too long. But now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
Yeah, this baby is my best friend. My name is Bill Kern. And in this business, I'm known as the Colonel of the Nut Bucket Band. My grandfather worked at Alcoa, and my father did too for a while. Then he ran off on a high note to chase his music dream. Me, I was left with this saxophone and good grandparents who raised me like their own. Now, that was rather unusual in Alcoa, you see, because in those days, everybody had a mother and a father who worked hard and brought them up right. Everybody but me, it seemed. I played this saxophone, hoping to bring my father back. The first thing I learned was to be subservient, especially to the white folks along the way down south to visit my relatives. Later on, I realized my grandparents really wanted me to be safe, not subservient. But you see, in those days, subservient was the only way to be safe in some places. You know what I mean? Next thing I learned is that music can take you places you've never been and never want to leave. Music can bless your heart and make you sing. It can soothe your soul when you're hurting. And you know, it can make your feet move and dance when you're happy. I got my own band here, and we play all over the place. To anybody that'll hear us, you know, we play big gigs, little gigs, nursing homes for free. You know, the old cats, they like to boogie down too. Huh. We just about die laughing when we see those old cats moving and jumping to our music. We're like ambassadors to the community, trying to keep the good vibes going. Truth be told, I never worked in Alcoa, but I lived here all my life. And I wanted my music to soar into everybody's heart that beat with the same red colored blood. You know, some of my best childhood friends, they were Quakers. And we got along fine, played together all the time with no problem. So little did I know, the rest of the world wasn't like Quakers. So I see no reason why we can't all just get along and have our voices heard, no matter where we come from or the color of our skin. So music, yeah, music, that's me. And that's my language. And that's my life. And I work hard to get everybody to understand that everybody has a heritage and a culture and a life that needs to be heard, known, and respected. Now the Aluminum Company of America, they brought our fathers and our forefathers here for a better life. And now that company, that lifeblood of our forefathers, has closed up shop, ran off to Shanghai or somewhere in China to roll a different kind of aluminum. But now the Chinamen, they'll stir those molten pots until they sweat and drop from dehydration. But their kids will dream that dream, and some will have actually reached that star for a better place in life. And that's what I try to teach all my students here at the college. Let your light shine, and let it shine bright. Catch that high note, and just hold on. Just hold on.
stirring the pot round and round. I see many faces, many lives, many dreams, many tears mixed into the story. Life is like a garden. Some seeds grow, some die in the ground. Some sprout mightily and burst into this world with a beautiful bounty, but are mowed down by birds, bugs, animals, and drought. But some always seem to make it through, to see the harvest on a bountiful table of blessings. Our lives, too, are planted in that garden. And we are all exiles, lost in time, weaving our way to our destiny, walking towards eternity, reconnecting with our source. Each moment is a seed of time. Arise, awake, may the sun shine on your seeds, and may the rains bless you, and may you be part of the rainbow harvest on a bountiful table of blessings in your community.
I'm just going to introduce everybody who's on the who's in the play. I'll say your names now.
Ready to go now.
So up first, playing the shaman, we have Robert Darrell Orange. As Big Mama Millie Clay, we have Lucinda Mynatt Williams. Jake Parson, Boy Ballerman, Cato Clowney. As Floyd Ross, the World War II veteran, Paul Sudderth. As Lula Banks, the teacher, Brenda Williams. Made the Barnes, Marlena, Allison. As our musician Bill Kern, Stanley Young. Miss Leo, director. She's up there. Give her a round of applause. And again, Mr. Larry Ervin, Give it up for him one more time.
And we'd like to thank the students from Maryville College who assisted us this evening. I think he's done a wonderful job too. We wish that you would tell people about the 7 o'clock presentation that's going to be in the Lambert Center. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends to come on out and learn a little bit more. Did you learn something tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Tell your neighbors. We've enjoyed doing this, and we thank you so much for coming.